Sweeties, how are you doing? Welcome to Nanyacim. If this is your first time of coming across this channel, sweetheart, what are you waiting for? Kindly smash the subscribe button, turn on the notifications so you get notified each time I upload, and please give this video a thumb up. You are gonna love it here. So today I've got something juicy in the pipeline for you, and okay, now let me tell you something. There is this Biracial man, who was asked his preference, if he prefers white, or if he dates only white people, and he said yes, and that is fine, all right. But then he went ahead, right, to use a black woman to 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 reference for his preference, right? See, I do not have any problem, whoever anybody is dating, it's okay. It's not my problem, but do not reference us for your preference. All right, I will be leaving you guys with a clip so you all can see how it all started.
I feel like this is an aggressive question. I also feel like this is a setup. And if this is a trap, just don't come for me, okay? Because girl, boy, sir, madam is setting me up. But the answer to your question is yes.
All right, he said yes. Like, he was asked, do you only date and prefer white? He said yes, which is okay, right? Let's get into the next clip. So let's see what he said. Now let's get into it.
So I got an alarming number of comments just like this under a video about my dating preference. And I understand from a psychological standpoint, the parallel, the connection that can be made between my mother's race and the women that I choose to date. But what gets me is all of these comments were left exclusively by Black people, mostly Black women. And they were left with this nasty, derogatory, bitter, negative undertone, almost in an accusatory way, as if having a white mother is a bad thing, or as if we get to choose who our mother is. Now, my mother is white, but I'd like to point out to you that my mother became my mother not by giving birth to me, but by saving my life, by getting me out of the foster care system with my twin brother, by the way, because she was the only person who was willing to take us both and keep us together and not allow us to be separated. So I get the connection, but I don't think that's what you were going after. I think that you were trying to be disrespectful, and if you were, it's extremely ignorant.
All right, look at here. I personally feel like he kind of deflected, with a story about him, being adopted, and it's insane, kind of like, we didn't ask you that. We did not ask you why, who adopted you and how you were adopted. Like, what does that have to do with us, or you being, because he's being problematic? What does that have to do with you being problematic? All right, guys, let's get into the stitches so we see what, how it went down. So here we go.
So first and foremost, I'm stitching this video because the other one you got where you mentioned Black women being aggressive, I took offense to it. As somebody who is also adopted, first of all, shout out to your mom for taking you in, because it's hard for people to take in children who are older, and it's even harder to take in siblings. My grandmother took all of us, and she's really actually my grand aunt, but she took us in when nobody else wanted us. So I know what it feels like to see other kids getting taken and no one takes you. But let me get to this point. Number one, a Black woman is not always aggressive. I think you need to diversify your friends, and I think you need to come out of that culture where you take a quote and let it be a dictator of another Black woman. Even though I didn't want to limit your experience, but that's a narrative that is always painted by Black women. As a father of two daughters, I got one that'll handle business, I got one that ain't even trying to get into all that. Very kind, very nice. So we don't need to do that. Number two, you never had to say anything in the first place. You date who you want to date. I find it ironic that men sometimes who grow up with certain type of women tend to come on here and start degrading other women and have to broadcast their preference. Nobody really cares. The only reason why we care now is because you had to degrade one to tell us what you liked about the other. Number three, it is very clear that a certain type of man deals with a certain type of woman. Do you understand? So at one point, you would consider certain black women aggressive, where brethren like me would consider them assertive. You would find it offensive and too much. I might find it so attractive. So the thing that we have to realize is that we have our own personal preferences, and sometimes we need to keep them to ourselves. As a man who is raising 2 beautiful black daughters, I'm gonna fight the narrative all day about how black women are portrayed. And whenever I see another man who would be considered black by most, but you are biracial, so I respect that, I'm gonna feel some kind of way when you talk this way, because it's not true. You know, I got Wonder Women in my house, and they're amazing. And I'm gonna always uplift them, and I'm always defend them. Not to say you can't have your preference, sir. I truly believe God can bless you with whoever you choose to be with. But I also read the comments where you were getting a lot of compliments saying it was well spoken. And that part is trash. It's not well spoken to degrade another woman, to uplift yourself. It might look good with some of the white girls, but it might not look good with the black women, especially because you have black people that are a part of your race. If you're going to honor one side, honor the other. If you're going to protect one side, also protect the other. Because we can't have unity when we're arguing about preferences and making stereotypes about black women. Just food for thought. We'd love to hear your response from a black father of 2 black girls.
Oh my God, he spoke so like very maturely, and that was really good. And you know the truth. The truth is that majority of us are not aggressive like they always tag us. We're just not dumb rats. We are not robots. Like, we got things done and handle our business. So how is that aggressive? Some people can't just handle the truth. Anyways, let's get into the next one. Here we go.
You really believe that you're catching flack from bitter black women in your comments because you're a black man with a white mom? Really? You know who else is a black man that has a white mom? Barack Obama. And black women and men voted for Barack Obama like fish on dry land voting for water. Barack Obama respects black women, the black woman that he married and the 2 young black women that he raised with the black woman that he married. And you're probably thinking, oh, so that's what it is. These ignorant black women are attacking you because you date white women. What? Maya Angelou, Bayard Rustin, Nikki Giovanni, Frederick Douglass, Tupac Shakur are all iconic black people that black people love. I'm gonna be square with you, bro. It's not your preference, it's your personality and your anti-black antics. You see, dating white women doesn't define your personality, but hating black women does. We out.
Oh yeah, this is it. Because, like, you know, I don't know why you would call a black woman aggressive. I mean, that alone is derogatory, because he already said like people were dropping nasty comments on him. It was because of what he said, right? And yeah, you know, one thing about all these kind of people is that the same behavior, like, you know, he categorized as aggressive, is still, like, you know, he would label as spicy and kind of cute in white and Latino women, and that is crazy. All right. Anyways, let's see the next video and see what they. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Mom of a biracial child who doesn't look black because you look black. Let's have a discussion. I'm open for a live if you are. So what you're allowed to do is have a preference for who you date. And you don't even realize, the mental stew in your brain doesn't even realize that the reason why you get the comments that you do is because in you stating your preference for dating white women, you belittle and demean black women. My son, who looks white, unlike you, has never, ever, ever in his life, ever demeaned or belittled a black woman. And he's dated across the board, black, Hispanic, Asian, indigenous. And I would never have a problem with any woman that he brought home as long as she loved him and treated him right. But in those same statements, in any woman that he's ever brought home, he has never, ever, ever belittled a black woman. You know why? Because his mom is black. Your mom is white, so she's never, ever, ever, you've never, ever had the experience where you need to appreciate and love your own kind. And as a person who grew up in the foster care system with white parents, but let me tell you the difference. My white foster parents taught me to love and appreciate my own self and my own people. That's the difference. You get the pushback that you get because of how you talk about black women. You are perfectly allowed to only date white women and have a preference for white women. But what you're not allowed to do is talk shit and demean and belittle black women while you're doing it. Just say you like white women. If you put up a video and said, I like white women, nobody would have a problem with you. You get shit and bullshit because you say, I like white women because black women are blah, 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 blah. That's why you get the bullshit that you get. Don't reference us for your preference. Your preference is your preference. You ain't got to say shit about a black woman. It shows how little and small you really are. And one day, I really hope that you have the black experience that you need to have to realize that you are not as bad as you think you are. Do better, black men.
Oh my God, she absolutely well spoken. Like I said before, do not reference us for your preference. I do not have a problem if you like black or white. It's okay. But where I have problem is when you start calling people or calling black women aggressive. No. That is not right. That is not right. All right, let's get into the last one.
I've been in the room with a lot of white people my entire life, mostly because I've been taking AP and accelerated classes my entire life. So I have almost perfected whether black men prefer to date white women. You can always tell by looking at the hair, the skin, or the smile. I'm coming with examples, of course. Starting out strong with the creator of this video, it's all in the hair, baby. Another very prominent example of it being in the hair, Trae Young. When it's in the skin, Travis Scott. And the smile has gotta go to Herschel Walker. This video came across my For You page. Immediately I could tell these two would date white women, these two would not. An example of someone who has all three, hair, skin, and smile, Trey from Clara and Trey. Very good dad, by the way. I love the Falcons, but I had to dig to find this picture. It's all in the smile with this guy. There's something about Drake London that throws my initial guess off. I would definitely have to hear the sound of his voice to confirm or deny. For the most part.
All right, we've seen it all, and I really appreciate everybody that spoke on this. It's quite very they they all made sense, and it's really amazing watching and also hearing people treat his trash, because he peeled trash against black women. How did he even get there? How did he drag us into that? Absolutely, it was fun doing this with you all. Thank you so much for your support. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.